This is gonna be how I feel. I mean, it's mostly gonna revolve around me and my experiences, but this is just gonna be how I feel about the, I won't say trend, but like the popular talk of the epidemic of people having no friends or no friends or no family. This is gonna be how I feel about it, and even how I feel about the aftermath of escaping my abuse situation. And yeah, so this is gonna be less of the usual brain damage Joe Biden moment videos, because I do have some notes. Not much, but some. I'm even gonna go over some things that I went into when I was still doing the abuse evidence videos. But I mean, I'm not gonna go into like the amount of detail I would when I was doing those videos, but I'm gonna mention some of the things that I mentioned there. So, no friends epidemic, my input or my take when it comes to my personal experiences. This is out of order too. Number one, I realized that I really needed to focus on loving myself and focus on me and my issues instead of embarrassing myself being a limerence filled codependent. Which I got into a whole bunch of embarrassing situations behind that. I remember the little 2-3 months of high school I did go to. The second time I was supposed to be in 9th grade because I wasn't allowed to go at all the first time. Long story. I had this one girl. I didn't even know her name either, so I didn't really talk to her, but I guess I had like some run-ins with her that made her feel some type of way. I don't remember much about her, even really what she looked like, but she was like, "You're so desperate, it's funny." And I was just like, well, but I mean, at this point in time, I had already like even gotten to accepting the reality of my situation, which I mean, I had been started doing that at 14. This was at like 16, a little before I left my situation. No, this was more than, no, I don't know. Let me not try to get in the timeline, but I had already started like accepting the truth of my situation at 14, of course, because I mean, that's when I had the whole awakening where I even found out the clinical terms for the abuse that I was going through. Also, with help of my dad's multiple girlfriends. I mean, one of them was even saying that her stepmom told her my dad was a narcissist, but I can't remember if, I think that was already after I had found out about those terms myself, as well as other terms, because like I said when I was doing the evidence channels, and maybe I mentioned this on here, but when I had found out the clinical terms for the abuse I was going through, and I found out about terms like narcissist, Jezebel, spirit, narcissistic or dysfunctional family system, through a TikTok, YouTube rabbit hole. I honestly cry every time I talk about it, because literally being in the abuse situation I was, even before the cash for kids system stuff started, because I was literally being like going through abuse ever since I was a literal baby. From siblings. Like I had this one sister who used to she was messed up from her own trauma in separate situations, to where like she would try to suffocate me, and my siblings would like tie me to beds and stuff when I was a baby, and all types of things. So even before the whole cash for kids system thing started, slash the Munchausen by proxy, when I moved in with my mom at 12, there was already narcissistic things happening, to say the least. But what point was I getting at? Aw, dang. Thought I wasn't gonna have a Joe Biden moment, but I am. I think I was, I don't know. I don't even remember. But when I started finding out those terms, I also did research on mental illness in general. Like, I used to talk about this stuff and I knew so much about it, people would think that like I was like studying psychology somewhere or something, but no. I mean, of course, when you have empathy and common sense, you don't need to go to school and learn a whole bunch of bias eugenics bullcrap to know common sense and how people are and how emotions work and how trauma works, but not going to go into that. And so I started doing research on my own trauma symptoms because I mean, mental illness comes from trauma. So I started doing that. Now, some of that I had already did at 8. So like when I was 8, I had looked into my symptoms, and that's when I had found out about hypersexuality disorder, which I had that since I was like a toddler. But at this point in time, at 14, I found out about CPTSD. I found out about DPDR. I even found out about BPD, which I'm going to mention that somewhat eventually, because the attachment issues with that, which I mean go along with CPTSD and other mental illnesses that I consider off branches of CPTSD. So like all PDs, I consider those off branches of CPTSD, because like they really are. It just depends on whether you choose the dark side or the light, the good or the bad side. Because I don't want to get too metaphorical and confuse people, if anybody even watches this. So, I had the attachment symptoms that would go along with BPD, but I mean, of course, they go along with CPTSD too, but deliverance is more related to BPD. And I remember it was really crazy because when I found out about this specific label, I was like, this almost sounds like the story of my life with the attachment issues that I've had. Because I mean, at that point in time, I wasn't having like, I mean, I had never had mood symptoms, so I wasn't having like mood symptoms, but just the limerence obsessions, like the attachment issues that I had that for forever. And really what helps with that is not falling into idolatry of people and even not talking to people in general. But I'm going to get into that too somewhat. I feel like there was a point that I was supposed to be getting into more than that though. But I don't remember what I was really getting at, like usual. So, let me reread this. Embarrassing myself, being the limits. Okay, yeah, I don't remember what else I was going to say about that, but I'm trying to think of an example, another example of when I embarrassed myself being a limerence-filled codependent. I guess I could just say having some of the abusive friends that I had. Like, there was this one specific one, which I mentioned her in another video. I think the one about how true crime channels exploit abuse escapees or help traffickers, something like that. I don't even remember. But basically, in this one situation I was in, when my mom had reported me missing when I tried to sneak to a job interview, and then all the articles were uploaded while I was in the house taking a shower, and it said a whole bunch of bull crap, ODD, OCD, ADHD, all types of bull crap. Things that I hadn't even heard mentioned in years, to be honest. This was when I was 16, and like I said in some video, I don't know if did I already mention that on this one? I don't even know, but when the Munchausen started, when I moved in with my mom, I had got 20 plus labels at 12, and it's hard to even remember all of them, but my mom would like only mention them in certain situations. So like if she wanted to start a pity party, she'd run around talking about how she had a handicap kid, but if she wanted somebody to feel like I was bad, she would use a bad black kid with ADHD label or the ODD label, which she commonly didn't even say right. Like, I remember I used to have this video on the evidence channels where I had a video of my mom and her boyfriend saying that I was being obsessive defiant because I wouldn't give her boyfriend money out of my purse, and I wouldn't give him my purse to get some money out of my purse and to take my money. And that was ODD. Which really ODD, that's a way of saying that somebody's a sociopath when they're under 18. That's really what that means. A lot of people don't know that though. ADHD is similar depending on your situation and even your ethnicity. It can mean the same thing because like I commonly say, ADHD is commonly called like it's commonly, okay, wait a minute. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. Due to the way that it's used with certain groups of people, me and others commonly just say bad black boy with ADHD label because that's how it's commonly used. Hopefully that made sense. Couldn't really figure out how to get that out. Where was I? Dang, wait a minute. I don't know. I can't think of any other examples. It'd probably be embarrassing. No. I remember what I was talking about. Try to not have a Joe Biden moment, but I am. So, back to the abusive friend and the missing persons report because I couldn't remember why I started talking about ADHD. So somehow, some way, she found this article when I was 16. Mind you, I had been living states away for like a year or something like that. And I just hadn't seen that girl in years and I hadn't talked to her in years. And it's like she was really abusive. I first met her the little bit of sixth grade I went to, not gonna go into that. But I met her in 2017. I was 12. She was in my class. And she was one of those types of abusive people. I used to have a video about her in the evidence channels. I may like look for it and see what email I saved it to if I can find it and then re-upload it here. Just because I feel like it's like a good topic for people who like have trauma symptoms to where you don't really know how you're supposed to be treated and you throw yourself into situations like that. Because honestly, once I was 14 and I had found out and accepted the situation I was actually in, with help of others, of course, and even more help when I was 15, like, even though those people were honestly pretty fake and some of them were pretty racist, I still can never thank them enough for how much they helped me to actually realize how bad my situation actually was and how much I actually needed to get the heck out of there. But yeah, so what was I saying? Oh gosh. Is somebody throwing up? It sounds like somebody's throwing up in the porta potties by my palette. Oh, I was already having a Joe Biden moment and now the background noise is throwing me off. Okay, wait a minute. I just gotta pause this. Okay, remember what I was talking about. So, yeah, once I found out the actual terms for the abuse and all that, I realized that this girl was actually just as abusive as, like, my mom's boyfriend. And really some of my other relatives too, but she really reminded me of my mom's boyfriend specifically. And of course she wasn't just, like, abusive to me, she was abusive to other people. But the thing is, other people who hadn't been in situations like I had, even if they had been, like, through some things, but, like, basically if you don't go through certain types of abuse, you still somewhat know your worth. Not even know your worth. It's not even that. It's not like I just straight up hated myself or anything. I just really didn't know how. I didn't know anything else but being treated like that. So I won't even say know your worth. I mean, that's the issue too, but like, it wasn't even really about that or just that. But I just feel like the video could possibly help some people if anybody even sees it. Because a lot of people fall into these types of quote unquote relationships and it's just, no, it's just not good. Yeah, so anyway, I had cut her off in about 2019. Basically, I would block her or she would, well, honestly, I think I wasn't even like good at blocking people because I always felt like I didn't want anybody to feel how I had felt and feel abandoned, how I had felt abandoned before. So I never wanted to block people. So I would actually talk people into blocking me because I knew that I wasn't going to be able to cut them off myself. That was the part of the codependency, actually. But and the people pleasing, but that goes hand in hand. So yeah, I would talk her into blocking me, but then she would unblock me. And then eventually one day in 2019, I started to like get closer and closer. Maybe it was 20, no, because this was in 2020. So yeah, 2019, I started to like get tired of all the bull crap and how I was being treated by people even more. And I finally actually blocked her for once. And I remember I felt really upset about it, I think. But yeah, basically, I don't know how she found out about the missing persons report when we were 16, and I don't know. I really don't. I can only imagine. I don't even know how she found a way to contact me, because she contacted me on some old social media account that I didn't even use, because I had stopped using social media in somewhat 2019, more 2020, more early 2020, for a lot of different reasons. Not that I was ever really on there that much anyway, but I just started realizing more and more that I really just needed to like step back away from that stuff and away from people in general, and I really needed to like focus on my situation and figuring out how to get out of there and figuring out what was actually going on. And yeah, so somehow she found me, and she said a lot of mean things about like how I obviously look malnourished, and about making fun of the Munchausen situation and the different labels, and threatening to blackmail me with a missing persons report. I remember when I talked to somebody about this, well, when I talked to a couple people about this, they were like, how in the world do you blackmail somebody with a missing persons report? But I mean, due to the labels that were on there and how um quote unquote malnourished that she said I was, which funny enough, she said this before like the doctor said ever asked why I was 16 and 80 pounds. I'm not gonna go back into that. But anyway, that's why she would have been able to try to like embarrass me with that. But I don't know, it's kind of whatever. She probably did do it anyway in the end, but I just ended up blocking her. And I remember, due to the stuff that this girl had did to me throughout the years of finding me and stalking me to abuse me and to harass me and try to talk me into killing myself, she did that to a lot of people. But, oh yeah, I remember a point I was supposed to be getting at, but I never finished the sentence now. Since I was like used to being treated like that, I was the only person who was actually by her side for her to really abuse for years. Everybody else would block her. Like, I remember she would be texting me about how she would be sitting at the table eating lunch by herself because she was so mean to everybody. Nobody would talk to her but me. And she'd be like, you know, you're my only friend and we're all we got. And yeah, so there was that. And I really felt bad for her. She always claimed that she had never been abused, but like a lot of things she did, I remember when I was like 12 and 13 and 14, I'd be like, are you sure your parents are nice to you? Are you sure you haven't been molested? She would always claim that like she hadn't. And I mean, maybe she really hadn't. Her parents did work a lot, and that could cause those types of issues too. Um, military kids, they can end up with ASPD and BPD and different types of issues because their parents are always working. Well, honestly, a lot of abusive stuff happens when you're a military family. So let me not even use that example, but just like working a lot can give your kids PDs and different attachment issues. Definitely not saying that this girl had BPD. Actually, when I found out about BPD, I was thinking like maybe, but then once I really got into the narcissism and accepted my abuse situation for what it was, I realized that this girl was honestly pretty narcissistic and she was just like my mom's boyfriend. But that's what I had to say about that. And I definitely could say I probably did have limerence sessions with her at some point. She was like one of my quote unquote favorite persons. And that was one of the funny things about BPD when I found out about it when it comes to attachment issues, because I had seen that like people with BPD have limerence sessions or quote unquote favorite persons. And it was so funny to me because I would literally call some of these people these abusive and fake friends, I would literally call some of them my quote unquote favorite person. But yeah, let me go ahead and read the rest because I got stuck on that for way too long, and that's literally just the first thing on the list. Okay, then I realized it's better to actually be alone than to be around people who make you feel alone and people who make your life hell, pretty much. And then there's this other saying. I don't want to say this because I don't even want to speak this at all. But there's this other saying that people say. I know my mom's boyfriend and my mom used to say it all the time. I can do bad all on my own, but I don't even want to say that because I don't want to do bad with or without people. But yeah, there's that too that people say, but I don't even like the energy that goes along with that. It's also better to be alone already than to have all of your quote unquote friends. Did I really write quotes around quote? I was definitely dissociated while writing this because what in the world? I really, I really, I don't even know if it's visible. My handwriting's pretty whatever, but if that's visible, I literally, oh my gosh. Friends, let me start over. It's also better to be alone already than to have all of your quote unquote friends up and disappear when you need help. Let me tell a little brief story about this. So, let me go ahead and say though that I am not like, I don't want to blame any of these people. At the end of the day, we were all kids anyway. It wasn't really anybody's fault. It just had something to do with my situation I was in. Some of these people obviously never liked me in the first place. In fact, most of them never liked me in the first place. I honestly feel like some of them probably never even really led me to believe that we were friends, but they would just still respond to me sometimes because they felt bad or they didn't want to be mean or something. So I don't want people to feel like, oh, these were just really bad people. I mean, I was just traumatized and doing whatever. And some of these people, like I just said, never really saw me as a friend, never really like did anything that should have made me think that they were my friend, but I just was used to being like around emotionally unavailable, straight up abusive people. So I just thought that like this, when somebody, the worse somebody treats you, the more they like you, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, anyway, like some people in 2020, the few people I was even still talking to, because like I said, I had already been like on this road to, hold up because I keep burping. I'd already been on this road to like completely cutting off contact with people to just focus on my situation, because honestly all that limb secession stuff, it really drains you and it just adds more to the situation. And yeah, so I remember like this one girl specifically that I would talk to every now and then, this racist girl. Which she's not even who I was referring to when I said racist people that helped me realize my situation. Those were other people, but just wanted to like make that clear. But anyway, I remember when we went to school together in elementary, because I mean elementary is all I really went to anyway. Okay, wait a minute, because I keep burping and now I'm having mucus build up. So yeah, this girl, I remember when we went to school together. She was one of the people that I specifically remember, because I was sexually act out all the time in elementary, well, in general, but in elementary school a lot, especially at this point in time. And so this girl, I remember one time in class, we were in the hallway before we went to art, and she was like, "Are you being abused?" And I was like, "Where?" And then she was like, "At home," but I didn't say anything. That was before I had even really stopped lying. Well, I mean, I don't know. It's like different points in my situation. It's like I was aware, but then I would try to like lie to myself, but then I wasn't. Especially once I started getting drugged in the Cash for Kids system abuse, because okay, hold on, I'm out of breath. Because the drugs, they're there to sedate you and have you in this like stupid state where you don't really know what's going on and you just agree with everything. So of course, like during that point in time, I went back into like this lie to myself point, and I really feel like that's part of why, like mid 14, after being let off the drugs early 14, I was actually able to like say, okay, wait a minute, there's way too much going on and none of this can be normal. I need to stop lying to myself. So yeah, that girl and then some other people, when I started like really accepting my situation for what it was, I started like telling people about some things that were going on and like saying that I just needed somebody to talk to about and that I just needed help. And I stopped being other people's unpaid emotional support pet and codependence, people pleasing, unpaid therapist. And I was like, okay, I need some help too. But that's when people stop. Well, I mean, some people already never responded, but that's when people stop responding to the point where I just eventually blocked everybody. I blocked everybody, literally. Like, I remember at this one point in time, I had like more than 20 people on my block list. And yeah, so I just blocked everybody after a while. I was like, what in the world? Because I played unpaid emotional therapist for this girl, and she never even liked black people. But of course, that's because I was codependent. So that was my little ignorance anyway. So, now that I got that out the way, where am I? Yeah, so I guess that was it. Once I started like telling people that they were right the whole time ever since elementary and that I was being abused, then people just up and disappeared. Not that anybody was really there in the first place, but I like to lie to myself. I used to anyway. Number 2, due to me being used to poor treatment, I would always run to quote unquote friends who usually never liked me in the first place. I already talked about that. Then due to trauma, I had BPD attachment issues and would get limerence codependent symptoms with certain people. And then I put idolatry in brackets. That's not what that's called. I don't even remember what that's called. But yeah, that's pretty much just idolatry. Limerence obsessions is idolatry. And something you may find out. In fact, this is something that Tiffany Buckner has said. Well, I'm not going to say that this was my situation because it's not like any of this was really my fault. So I don't want people to feel like I'm like blaming myself for something I had really no control over. At least not my situation as a whole. Maybe I probably should have never talked to some of these people or kept talking to them. But maybe for like when you're older, just keep this in mind. Tiffany Buckner, something that she said that it's something that I had been saying in a different way, is that people do to you what you do to God, and if you like keep getting into certain bad relationships, like with quote unquote narcissists or whatever, it's because of idolatry, and you're like idolizing people in relationships, and that's really all limerence is idolatry. And also it's a form of emotional witchcraft / manipulation. In fact, codependency is manipulation, even though you're not intentionally being manipulative. A codependent is also abusive, because it's like I was putting other kids and teens in parent positions, and it was also really weird, and they wouldn't even know how to describe it other than you're being weird. Like, I remember the little bit of ninth grade I did go to, there was this one girl where I would like show her my bull crappy art, and I would be like, how is it? But that's the thing though, that's something that somebody would do to a parent. And I remember I was talking to some adult advocate person that I met in a support group at this point in time. I was talking to her about the situation a little after, about how like I felt bad because I realized I was definitely putting this girl in a parent position, and she was honestly a little bit younger than I was, and I was like expecting to get, I don't know, not praise, but I mean just some type of response from her about my art that is really something that I should get from a parent. And then I remember the lady that I was talking to about this at this point in time was like, I mean, it's good that you're able to like identify what you're doing and how it could be making others feel. She said some other stuff I don't really remember. I would try to put other kids and teens, and I think I already read that. Either way, I just went over that. So while playing unpaid therapy, I already kind of said that too. when I was younger, I sexually acted out all the time, or wait, a lot due to trauma and even emotional neglect. So I was being codependent and would have romantic limerence sessions or romantic obsessions with people, which was very devastating for the other kids. It definitely was. And I think that just revolves around a lot of trauma symptoms, other than even like just maybe the hypersexuality and all that. I feel like, I don't know, I feel like I kind of used to have this thing where I even, not so much anymore because I don't even like people like that anymore. And no, definitely not I hate everybody. I'm not like one of those people that just gets into that bitter victim complex point where I hate everybody. Definitely not that. But I can definitely say that I don't like most people I meet. And I know it sounds really mean. It's not like I think I'm better than anybody else. I definitely know that's just nowhere near true. And I'm definitely not better than anybody, but I just really recently, in the recent year or two, I've realized that I honestly don't even like most people I meet. I can't even do that buddy buddy stuff anymore. What was I saying? What point was I getting at? Hold up. Oh yeah, but I think that like it just has something to do with the fact that I just used to fall in love with everybody I met. Not even really because that's really how I felt, but just because, I don't know. I think it has something to do with a lot of trauma stuff, down to like even a lot of issues my parents had. I don't even want to go into all that, but yeah, I just never had really seen, I guess, platonic love or any love, and it was just really confusing, a lot of confusing stuff. So there was that ran a lot of people away, especially in elementary. But I mean, the likelihood of even still being friends with somebody now that I met in elementary is kind of unlikely. But I mean, another thing I'm about to go into, I never really, still to this day, get to be around kids my age due to the situations due to the situations I was in, due to how unstable my situation was and moving around a lot, and due to the isolating abuse situations I would be put in, even like my current situation. In fact, there's this weird thing that I'm like running into with some people that feel like I don't know, if I was to like date somebody, then I can't date somebody that's like 16 to 18 because of my situation. It's just really weird. People feel like because I'm homeless, I'm supposed to be dating like other weird old people. It's just really weird. It's kind of like how somebody may feel that like I don't know, like a 19-year-old. I'm not 19, but just an example, like a 19-year-old with a job and like their own apartment shouldn't date another no. Well, cause this example, I don't know. They wait a minute. They shouldn't date another 19-year-old who's still living with their parents. Something like that. It's like that type of situation. But I mean, I'm already really age regressed. But either way, there's no reason for me to ever date people who are just too old for me. It's just so much stuff about that. Not that I'm even dating anybody anymore. I don't even know anybody. Definitely not really anyone my age. Because, I mean, I'm never around people my age. But I just had, like, someone say some bullcrap like that to me. And it's like, I'm not going to be dating people who are 25 and stuff because I'm not in the ideal situation for people my age. I don't know why in the world. So, yeah, anyway. There's that. Isolating situations. Another thing I realized that I was also throwing myself into a lot of fake relationships with people well, not even just fake, but just, I was throwing myself into quote unquote relationships. And I mean, like, not dating, but people that I couldn't even have a conversation with. So, like, I mean, I still feel like I can't really have a conversation with a lot of people. In fact, I remember, like, not even some months, last summer, I met this one dude, and he was like, it's crazy that the only person I could have a coherent, educated conversation with is a literal kid out here. But, yeah, so Like I was trying to be friends with people that I had honestly nothing in common with, and it's like just because of like the level of social conditioning and brainwashing people are under, even regardless of age sometimes. Well, not sometimes. Also, people want to talk about like these rappers and different little debauchery bullcrap that just tears apart our culture and everybody's culture and stupid stuff, stupid pranks, stupid mean empathy lacking bullcrap like terrible pranks, gossip, making fun of people. People want to do those things, and I just feel like I'm just not about any of that bull crap, and I want to like talk about truth and real things. And I remember, even still to this day, some adults pretty much just feel jealous of me because they just feel like people just feel like I'm smarter than them. I know this is gonna sound like really cocky or whatever. I'm really not even trying to be like that, but people are jealous, and that's really what not what I want. I don't want to be around someone where like anytime I try to talk about anything, they feel like it's an argument or like I'm trying to like one up them or outsmart somebody. Like I remember one time I was talking to this one dude and he was like, "Okay, we get it. You're smart. You don't have to do all that." And I was like, what did I even do?" And the conversation wasn't even serious either. It was like some bull crap. Funny enough, though, that same boy had lied to me. Well, no, let me not even go into that because it's already too long. But no, but this other funny story though. So I thought I had a friend, and to make a long story short, this boy had ended up locking me in his grandma's car and choking me because I don't even know what in the world happened, but he ended up locking me in his grandma's car and choking me, and then eventually his 8-year-old friends, yes, his 8-year-old friends, way too old to be friends with 8-year-olds, they had told me that they weren't really sure how old he was, but they said that he was lying to me about his age and that he wasn't 15 and he was in middle school. And I was about 14, 15 when I met him. One of those, I think 14. I never found out how old this dude was. And the thing is, he was lying to people and telling people that I was dating him and all types of stuff. I just thought we were friends. And I would like go sit at his house to like even get out of my house sometimes, but yeah, that was it. That was 2020. Then in 2021, or at least I don't even know, but a little before I left my situation, I would see him outside every now and then, and I remember he started like trying to tell people that I was just weird because he was scared that I was gonna tell people about all the things he had done, and I was just thinking, boy, I don't even talk to people. I'm not about to tell anybody jack about jack. The only thing I was focused on was getting out of my situation. He wasn't even on my mind, but he felt like he had to start spreading bullcrap about me. Not that I really care, but I mean, I'm just saying. He just was scared I was going to tell people about all the stuff that he did and all the lies he used to tell, which I'm not even sure what all he was lying about. And apparently he had did the same thing to another kid, and he had locked some. Well, I don't know if he locked him in his car, but some boy told me that he had choked him too, and then he stopped being friends with him. I remember the 8-year-old girl that he was friends with. One of them, she was like, "Yeah, he has a lot of cap in his rap, and he says his dad is a rapper, but I think he's lying." And yeah, I don't know. Never really figured out the full truth of that situation, but yeah, so supposedly he was 12, but he told me he was 15 and he told me he was older than me and I believed him. Now that was honestly that was kind of I don't know though. I mean the thing is, like I said, I wasn't really around people my age that much and I mean, well for one, I know that I look nowhere near how old I am because of different things that I talk about all the time now, but so I wouldn't really want to like try to bash somebody and say that they're lying about their age when I know like I have genetics and health issues also that make me look a lot younger than I am. So there was that, and I just didn't really think much of it because I guess I didn't really know like how 15-year-old boys usually look for whatever different reasons, so I didn't really think anything about it. Not that everybody looks the same at certain, I don't know. It's just really embarrassing looking back. I don't even know what else to say about that. But yeah, I thought I had a friend there. And that was after I had already like pretty much cut people off. So that was like a last straw type situation right there. Number 3. This is really, really long. I gotta hurry up. I never may have to do a part 2. I never oh dang, I already read that. I don't even know I'm still here. So yeah. Right here it says I realized cutting people off and not talking to anyone lifted a weight off of my shoulders. It makes me feel lighter. I had too much going on for a quote unquote relationship. It needed to focus on escaping my abuse. Now I need to focus on healing and self improvement. I used to try to play buddy with pretty much everybody I met. Not full blown, but to a certain extent. Especially like when I did get to be in school. Well, yeah. But I mean my schooling was kind of off and on, so I can't even really say that too much. But yeah, I would try to play buddy. But now I honestly don't like most people I meet. When people give me their numbers, I don't reach out, and if I do, I regret reaching out and commonly end up blocking them. For one, when you're in like quote unquote vulnerable situations or not ideal situations, people don't really see you as a friend anyway. They see you as a pity party in a charity case, and so you're either going to attract what I call let me help you lunatics, which I have videos about that, or people who want to take advantage of you. But I mean, that has been an issue for me, obviously. I know people are going to think pedophiles. I'm not even talking about pedophiles. Something that I always say, especially on the videos about like escaping abuse situations under 18, people are always going to warn you about pedophiles, but there are so many other types of toxic people to worry about other than just pedophiles or stereotypical pedophiles anyway. There's so many different things to watch out for and stay away from. I regret reaching out and then blocking if I didn't already read that. Too much, people. Wait a minute. A lot of people are too brainwashed and too many hidden motives. No value for real friendship. I remember when I still did the evidence channel / abuse evidence channels. I said at like 16 while homeless that I had realized everyone around me only wanted to be around me if they were getting something out of me. Whether it was like something sexual. And people are gonna think pedophiles. No, I mean boys and girls my age and younger. And people would be mad because I wasn't going for that. Like I remember there was this whole situation where this girl pretty much up and just stopped talking to me. And there was a lot of stuff with that situation. I used to call her the girl from the 7-day friendship, but really she wanted to date me. But I said that I wasn't gonna go for that, and I wasn't gonna do that. And then she also said that like my situation was too much for her, my abuse pretty much, and it stretched her out because she didn't know how to help and a whole bunch of bull crap. But yeah, really she wanted to date me. And I didn't want to do that, and then that caused issues. So yeah, something sexual. Where am I? For me to be their cash cow or emotional or physical punching bag. Now it's time for me to focus on me, my situation, and my healing. And of course, I'm still like willing to help other people who like are in bad situations. Not that I can help anybody too much in my situation, but something that I always worried about that luckily never ended up happening was me becoming like cold hearted. That was something I really feared, especially like, well, really all throughout my abuse situation. I just worry about that. I remember like, no, let me not start trauma dumping. Great. Wait a minute. Oh yeah, so the aftermath or some things that I have enough space left to mention. that I've seen since like escaping my abuse situation and like trying to let go of fake people and all that. Now, there are still like some let me help you lunatic type people that come around every now and then, but that's kind of whatever. So they're not that much of an issue anymore. So one thing that I've noticed since leaving my abuse situation is actually being able to like go to sleep without sleep deprivation abuse. So like no begging or crying to go to sleep, nobody coming harassing and threatening me for 45 cents at 12 a.m. Nobody waking up and screaming and starting arguments and throwing stuff around at 5, 12, 3 a.m. Nobody banging on their leg at 5 a.m. on a school night with a bottle and then just ignoring me. Nobody deciding to leave TVs on or move doors from hinges and turn on all the lights in the house to keep me and maybe even others from being able to go to sleep. So, I don't know, I could really keep going. But yeah, being able to go to sleep, no more sleep deprivation abuse. And I remember somebody had left some comment on on a YouTube short that I had on some video on my abuse evidence channel. And I had looked at that again recently. I looked at the comment and I had just like went back over, and this was like a comment somebody left about how I may actually just have to end up running away. This was way before I had really realized that I was gonna have to do that. I had forgot all about the comment too, but they had said something along the lines of, once you get out of there, never regret being able to like go as you please and sleep and all that stuff anymore, something like that. And I really can't. And another thing that's like really important to me that I've noticed a change in is no longer walking on eggshells. Like not also not being hyper vigilant, which is really funny because you would think that like while being homeless I'll be hyper vigilant, but I'm not anymore. I mean, of course I'm not just like not paying attention to my surroundings. Although due to the fact that I've had DPDR since I was like 6, I mean I am pretty dissociated and stuff, so I pay attention as much as I can, but I'm not like what's gonna happen next anymore. It's not like that, like it used to be. Like, okay, is my mom's boyfriend gonna threaten to kill everybody today? Is my mom? Am I gonna get locked up for eating some gummies today, or get threatened to get locked up for eating some gummies? Am I gonna get cursed out for getting something to eat? There's none of that anymore. So yeah. Also, like eating more and like not a whole bunch of crazy situations revolving around food. I mean, sometimes I do like, well, nah, I'll have to make a part two because it's really long, but that's just some things that I've noticed the changes since being out of my situation and focusing on me instead of trying to like pretend I have people that I really don't. That's kind of the whole point of this video. And of course, just like it says in Genesis, man weren't made to be alone, or man shouldn't be alone. I can't even really remember right now, sadly, but it's something like that. People really aren't supposed to be alone, but there's just some points in your life where you have to, for a certain, at least not having other people around. So, I mean, like I said in other videos, this is my time to focus on self-deliverance. So, like breaking generational curses, all that stuff. And like I said in this video, this is my time to focus on me, my health, and my healing. Not being a codependent, unpaid therapist for somebody who barely even likes me. None of that. Not being a surrogate spouse and going through emotional incest with my mom and her boyfriend and hearing them go back and forth about each other. None of that. This is, I mean, of course, like I still do, like, hope my siblings are okay, my younger siblings and all of that, and my nephew, but other than that, I'm focused on getting things together for myself, pretty much. And yeah, that's what you should focus on when you're in situations like that. I mean, like this. That's the whole point of this video. Cause like, I mean, if you don't have like friends, whatever, is probably for a reason, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a bad reason. So don't go run around claiming you have some type of mental label and you're autistic or something because you don't get along with everybody you meet. Please don't do that or fall into that. Don't go give some psychiatrist a paycheck. But do know that it's your time to focus on you. And I mean, a lot of people are pretty fake anyway. And like it says in Revelation, in the last days, the love of many will grow cold. People are pretty fake. And then that's it, because it's way too long.